In addition to that, I worked with the folks at WGST for, gosh, 8 or 9 years.
Right.
But my contract was up, and I hired an agent, and he negotiated, and with WGST and with some stations in L.A., and Chicago, others here. Two others here.
To the damn
Well,
point.
this is difficult because I love everybody over at WGST,
all right.
but this afternoon I did sign a contract to start a television. They have issued the press release, a radio program right next door on We're Such Buttheads.
The people you've trashed for years. You've called it We're Such Buttheads. You've said it's the worst radio station in America, and I know all in the Well, listen, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Well,
so that'll be several months in the future. Okay. In the meanwhile, it's
now, quick
concentrating on the law practice.
You're gonna be around the country? Is it gonna be syndicated?
I have no idea. I'd love that.
There's a rumor that I've been circulating that you maybe.
Oh, really? I would love that.
Okay,
I'd like to.
All right. We'll come back. We'll talk more
but
about
I'm going to really
miss
miss the crowd over at WGST, too. So.
All right. Chris in Atlanta, how are you?
Good.
Shoot.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you, or comment.
Okay.
What about this Nielsen stuff? Is that where you get your ratings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of a known fact in the industry that they're not really accurate in the first place?
Yeah, but I never play the game of kick the rating services. We live by it, we die by it. If we were number one, I wouldn't kick them. I just say they do a good job. And
Look at it this way: if they're not accurate with us, the same degree of inaccuracy exists with everybody else that's out there. So somehow we must be coming.
I think they did a good job of sampling this program, and for reasons that we don't really quite understand. All of the reaction we got from those of you as we walked up and down the streets, you called us on the telephone, it never materialized and reflected itself in the actual numbers.
It's a cruel business.
Yeah.
If there'd been more Nielsen boxes in prisons and,
insane asylums.
where we'd have done a lot better.
Yeah,
Halfway houses. We watched in all those places. Braves locker room.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me, though.
Glad you called. Thanks very much.
We do. We appreciate it.
Alfonso in Decatur wants to talk about the lottery, my favorite subject.
Yes.
Alfonso, talk.
I was looking at your show today, one day when you were talking about the lottery.
Yeah.
I wasn't here that day, by the way.
And Boortz was trying to justify it, saying that they would make laws in which that they couldn't touch the money.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out, they had laws that couldn't touch Social Security money either, but they found a way to get their hands on it.
Oh, you're right.
And as importantly, as I've always said, you pass a law that says the state legislature can't touch the lottery money, they'll kindly oblige. They will not touch it. But there will be an exact dollar-for-dollar offset in the general fund budget.
Well,
so what you'll end up with is 6 of one, half a dozen of another. The state of Georgia, in terms of its education of its children, will never see any substantial infusion of lottery dollars. It's never going to happen.
See, now what they did in Georgia is that they set up some specific education programs that are to be funded only with lottery money, all right? So, and no general budget funding at all. That means that the profits from the lottery will go into the XYZ program and the rest of the education funding goes into ABC. That way, if the legislature, the appropriations committee starts to monkey around with this money, it'll be immediately obvious to everybody.
Yeah, but see, the problem, let me respond to
matter,
that real quickly. By coming up with specific programming and targeted programming, what the legislature does in the state education department, it's a nice little political trick. These are programs which we are assuming were valuable programs and should have been funded anyway with general fund dollars. So now we don't have a need to do that. It's still a shell game. It's 6 of one, it's half a dozen of another.
Ron doesn't like it because he's never going to win the lottery. I, however, am.
I don't like it because I think it's a terrible lesson to teach our children. Oh, here's how you pay for your education. You gamble. That's the way you do it. This is the state of Georgia. Here's the lesson, folks. It's saying the way you pay your bills is you gamble. And the state of Georgia is going to teach that lesson to 70,000 children in most of our counties across the state. It's a terrible lesson.
You going to play the lottery?
No.
You
No.
will.
I think being on this show is enough lottery for me.
You will.
No, well, okay, well, no, I actually won't. I'm not a hypocrite about it.
With all the money you got left over from this show?
Well, I'm going to spend that money carefully, We're going to see. Spend it carefully. Teresa in Austell, how are you?
I'm just fine. God, I will miss you guys.
Will
guys,
you?
Yes, I absolutely will. There's one thing about the show that I really like. You two offset each other very well, and you guys in the network have enough nerve to bring issues to the public that make us think. And, you know, I really appreciate that as a human being that does watch TV.
Let me ask you this. Did you like the show better when we were at each other or when we were, you know, like two good buddies sitting here?
Both. Both times, I've liked different shows for different reasons, but, you know, I like the idea of taking different sides because it makes people think.
Oh, yeah, and people don't do enough of that these days.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, we don't.
I sent that creep Oprah Winfrey a letter yesterday to tell her that she's made $44 million. All we wanted to do, Neal and I, was to make just $1 million. That's all we wanted, $1 million between us. Creep
She's
ass.
no creep. She's an immensely talented, immense woman.
Thank you, Ron Sale.
Yes, she really is.
Talk about role reversal. Here, 5,000 people.
Well, I want to know what the hell these 1,500 people are doing watching today if they're not going to miss this. They can tune over to Oprah right now.
We come back with more in a minute. Stay with us.
Wish my mom would quit calling in that 1166 number.
That's her down at the bottom.
I know it.
She
I
hates
know it.
this show.
Speed dial.